Hey, it's Drewz Viewz back here doing FridayFlix. That's where I do a reaction to a show that's on Netflix on Friday. Starting a new show today called Everything Sucks! Exclamation mark. I don't know really anything about this show other than that it takes place in the 90s and in like a high school, I believe. Also, I'm still doing my reaction series on the end of the fucking world. A new episode of that is out currently as we speak as well. But I figured I'd pick up a new series as well. This is also a half an hour one or around that per episode length, I believe. So I want to do some longer length Netflix reactions as well, but it's just easy to do these shorter ones. To start at least here, do a couple at once. So Everything Sucks, like I said, don't know anything about it. I think, the half-hour shows are usually comedies, which I'm assuming it is. Now, since it's 90s based, it might be kind of like in the Saved by the Bell or Boy Meets World vein, where it's kind of like a dramedy type of show, or it's not really one specific genre, just teenage shows. I assume this is kind of for 90s nostalgia or whatever, aimed at that. I was in high school in the mid-2000s, not the 90s, but I mean, I still was around back then, just younger. So I'm sure I'll pick up on some of the references here. Hope it's not like too crazy reference heavy that could get annoying. And I don't know if I like the show at all. I'm only committing to the first episode here, but yeah, I'm ready to check it out. Everything Sucks. Let's see if the show does. First episode's called Plutonium. Ska, that's 90s. The Mighty Mighty Boston's.
Announcements for Friday, September 27th, 1996.
Are you kidding? The new Star Wars movies are gonna be awesome. They're not new.
Boring high school, that's on the nose.
Digital guard. Whatever. They're gonna be fat, PA. You do realize that AV Club is the lowliest.
So I don't know about that so far. They're definitely shoehorning some stuff in. Less than a minute into the show. Star Wars prequels and stuff.
Guys, we're in high school now.
That's right. Principal Messner here. Wishing you a happy Friday.
That's embarrassing for a principal to be
First
doing.
week back at school. And for all you freshmen out there, I can't wait to
At
get
least
to
make
know
the
you. Anyway, we're off to
vice
a super
principal do
start.
that or something.
So let's keep it up.
Jessica Betts.
No. In world news, President Clinton has signed the Defense of Marriage Act, which defines marriage between one man and one woman.
Technical difficulties. Looks like these new kids are gonna have to come here and clean things up with the AV team.
First week of school and shit's already gone to shit.
Well, they're swearing, which wouldn't be on Boy Meets World or anything like that.
Having trouble?
This kid's trying to get some game on here.
456s are janky. You sure I can't help? But I have tools at home. Can I check this out or something?
Are you a freshman?
Can I show you my tools?
Freshmen can't check out gear,
Come over to my place?
right? Cool beans.
The coolest beans. Sorry, I'm stupid. I'm Luke. Luke O'Neill, by the way.
Kate.
Damn,
Whoa.
Gina! How'd you do that? How'd I do
He's
what?
getting to work right away.
Plutonium?
That student you were just talking to. That's Kate Messner, all right?
Name
That's
of
Mr.
the
Messner's
episode.
daughter.
Who's that again?
Mr. Messner. The principal. Proceed with caution.
Ooh, the principal's
This guy looks
daughter.
familiar, that actor. Well, it sucks for this girl that this dad is the principal.
Kate! Hey, sweetie.
It's
Was
bad enough to
that
have a
cool
principal
or
for a
what?
dad anyways.
I gotta be on that.
Awkward on top of it.
Dad,
Yeah,
who making new rules this year?
of course, I'm all ears.
Can you not talk to me while I'm at school?
It's gonna be hard for him. Oh, come on, man. Good song. I like the song. Run Around. When all it does is slow me. Oh, got the wrong part. Oh.
What kind of fairy tale world does Alanis Morissette live in? Canada. Can I have a chip? Nerds, like, with each other. Well, according to my calculations, there's a 2% chance I get laid by senior year. Kind of kind of comforting, truthfully. Takes really a date.
Well, it's not
He's
as
gonna
big as
try to get it in
Canada.
first day.
You are gravely underestimating the implications of disappointment.
Meet by the flagpole after school?
Yeah. See you then.
Well, at least neither of them said cool beans this time.
The merchant of deceit has sold you such untruths.
In my sleep,
Or there's some drama nerds doing some shit or something.
Infidelities.
At least the principal took those mascot pants off by now.
Dagger! I am thy scabbard. Are obviously playing the leads, but lesser roles and crew positions remain available. Join us.
Kind of like a Amanda Seyfried look. Well, no one did shit like that in my high school, which I'm glad, to be honest. Classic fat kid picking up food off the ground, huh?
Summer's over.
Oh, don't worry. According to the district.
Please
handbook,
treat me like
our
I'm
rules
any
are
other
entirely
teacher.
permissible.
I guess he's a single dad or a divorced dad.
Okay.
Of course, yeah.
No, he loves being told he's
Actually,
not attractive at all.
Just friends,
Colleagues. Might be better.
colleagues. Yeah. Hey, I'll take it.
Doesn't even get friends.
Her first album is called Little Earthquakes. You know what that means? Orgasms. Like, she totally named an entire album after orgasm. Or that's what I heard.
This kid's gonna orgasm in his
Sounds
pants right
badass.
now. Is Portland, Oregon a real city? I guess it must be.
Oh, hey, man.
These
Hey,
are like
would
some
you take a
Oregon type
picture
people.
of us in front of the sign?
Ever notice they never actually go into town? They just find the sign, take a picture, then leave.
There's nothing there, probably.
We Columbia House. You want it?
Oh, thanks, but you can get a lot of store credits about.
Oh, no, it's fine, really. Take it.
I think Columbia House is something where you're supposed to get new CDs for like 5 cents or something. That's what the ads for were, something like that. I never had it
Sorry
though.
about the dust.
What's he do now?
Oh, my dad? Who cares?
You miss him?
No.
Real believable kid. So it's gonna be like
How about
something
your
like
mom?
she has no mom, he has no
5
dad.
miles above the Atlantic right now.
I guess we don't know that she has no mom, but
She's a flight attendant. You know, sometimes she's gone for a whole week. Which kind of rules. I mean, I get to stay up late. Actually, it seems kind of cool.
Not the term I would use.
What about Mrs. Messer?
good try, kid.
She died.
Oh. So,
Sorry.
I was right.
How'd it happen?
She was sick. What's a 5-year-old supposed to say to a counselor? Scream into it whenever I needed. I never used it.
Perfect time to start the
My
camera
dad
roll.
did, though.
Good instincts.
Wanted to disappear. It's like I actually did, kind of.
I see. PB&J.
You're cute. See you on Monday.
No, it's not really. Not the way you want to hear it. He doesn't realize yet, but. No, she stole the dirty magazine, huh? The main kid might be barking up the wrong tree here. Oh. Yeah, I think he might be for sure. The Oasis. Must have paid a lot of royalties for this music in the show. Only on episode 1.
Go for ziti, sweetie. Oh, sorry. Just wanted to know if you wanted to.
Jesus. Just leave, Dad.
You know, Kate. It's okay. If you wanna look at this magazine? I've seen a few myself, if I'm being honest.
You don't have to look like the girls in these magazines. Real men attracted to women of all shapes and sizes.
Can I borrow that then later? Or?
Can you get out of my room now, please?
Z it is.
Thank God he didn't come in like 30 seconds later. Might have got the right impression. Might have to lose that penis, kid. Oh, that's a long name in the credits there. Alright, so that was episode 1 of Everything Sucks. Did that show suck? Kind of. I mean, it's really not for me, I don't think. Before I started, I was saying about the 90s kind of references, if it should be done a little, at least I think I mentioned this, that I prefer if it was done a little more, worked in a little better, more subtly. That episode 1 at least seemed to have the subtlety of, you know, like a sledgehammer. It'd be better if I had a 90s reference for it to really drive my point home here. It had all the subtlety of some blonde-tipped hair. Well, too bad I couldn't think of something better. But regardless, not subtle at all. Too many references, like especially like the talking about. Well, right off the bat, they're talking about like, oh, the Star Wars prequel's coming up. I don't know about this digital stuff. And then they're doing the whole Alanis Morissette ironic song, which people did. I mean, it's like an old thing now to talk about how the song's not ironic. But I mean, it was forced in my opinion, especially with those two friends, the two friend characters of the main kid, who his name I don't remember, but I didn't really care for that. I mean, on a show like Stranger Things, which is 80s, obviously, a lot of people think that's not subtle. That's too shoehorned in, and I could deal with it there. This seemed worse to me. I don't know. The tone of the show, it seems like for teenagers, like the kind of things they set up, but there was like swearing and nudity, or at least nudity in terms of showing the magazine pictures, which obviously would never be in a show that was on back in the day or that's on regular TV. Netflix can do that, obviously, but if the show's aimed at like a teenage audience, which for the kind of messages they seem to set up in this, or the storylines they seem to set up, I kind of think it would be. Though I don't know, though. I mean, it's hard to say, because like shows people would have grown up watching in the 90s or into the 2000s, they wouldn't have had that stuff, so they had to do things differently in terms of doing storylines without being graphic about certain things. Does that mean when they're not doing it in this that it is really for not a teenage audience? I mean, obviously with the 90s references aren't for a teenage audience either, I guess. I guess it is for people that know about the 90s. So tonally, I don't really know. Like, I mean, I guess I would have to continue watching it to see where it goes. I mean, the storylines so far seem to be, it's going to be the main kid is going to fall in love with this girl, the sophomore girl, which I guess I got to give him some credit. He rolled up in there and started macking straight off the bat, as awkward as it was. But he's macking up the wrong tree. Obviously, they're clearly setting up that the girl is into girls. Probably maybe just realizing that for the first time. Probably not for the first time. She's already getting into these, spotting these magazines and taking them. But and that's the kind of storyline I feel like would be for a younger audience maybe to like understand things like that. But the dad, for a second, I thought the dad was going to be real woke and be like, hey, it's so, like, know what was going on when he caught her looking at the magazine and be like, it's cool or whatever. But obviously he thought that she's like the classic thing of looking at, like, if I could see where he's coming from, like, especially in the 90s, I guess. I could see him making the inference he made that she's looking at it, like, at women to want to look like them or whatever. I mean, it would make more sense in like a women's magazine like Vogue or Glamour or something, or I don't even 17 or something, where that would be a conclusion a parent might jump to, like, oh, you don't have to look like those models or whatever. And this is clear like a hustler or whatever it was supposed to be. I think it was a made up thing, but that seems to be clearly where the storyline's going. They didn't set up too much more other than the dad as well. Like he's a loser, principal loser. So yeah, it seems like this girl is the main girl here is gonna have a bit of a rough life for the moment here. The music, there's songs in it I definitely liked, pretty well known songs, a lot of them, which also adds to some. You could say that is less subtle than if they worked in some songs that weren't as big. The song they played only a quick clip of, like in the intro, that song wasn't as major as like an Oasis or Run Around, or one of those songs, which I do like that song. And that wasn't as big of a hit, I don't think, as I'm blanking on what that song's called that I'm referencing, but some more stuff like that is better. I mean, they must, like I kind of mentioned, they must be paying a ton for these licensing these songs, especially if they're going to keep it up in each episode with like 5 or 6 pretty big songs on the soundtrack there. But overall, yeah, I think I've kind of made it clear that didn't really care that much for it. I don't think this is for me. Possibly might watch episode 2 just to see if it changes at all. There was one thing I did like, even though I didn't really like the dialogue, like, because it had to do with those 2 friend characters who I really don't like, but when they were talking about like the nerds at school can have sex with each other or whatever, that is something that was recognizable to me. Like, I know when I was in high school, it was like there was like popular kids obviously would be doing what they're doing, but also like really super nerdy kids. I remember like in band or things like that, I would hear stories about them hooking up with each other. So I think it was more of the people like me right in the middle there that weren't getting any. Just kidding, I got plenty. I still no, but yeah, that's something I did notice, that even if the dialogue wasn't super realistic, maybe like they're saying percentage or whatever, like doing this nerd humor, nerd humor, that kind of like topic at least was recognizable to me, or that was kind of funny that they brought that up. And yeah, they had the kid picking a hot dog off the floor or whatever it was, and the fat kid, yeah. So the humor in this, not to my liking so far. The nostalgia factor, or the 90s factor, worked in way too heavily, hammered in too heavily, and the tone, a little unclear to me still. That's not as big of an issue for me as the first 2 things I mentioned, but those factors would combine to say this show, Everything Sucks, probably sucks. But we'll see if I come back for one more episode just to give it one more try. I might do that. All right, so that is Drewz Views. Hey, check out my Drewz Views reactions to The End of the Fucking World, which is on Netflix, which is a show I am enjoying. A dark comedy there. I'm more than halfway through the season on that. I've got other reactions out as well for some different shows that are not Netflix, so check out the channel. And we're out of here. FridayFlix. Peace.